Pokémon, 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 long length, relaxed writing style, no female lead. Clear setting, no reading threshold. Non-brainless and refreshing, the plot progresses step by step. Underscore 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 This is the story of a young man leading his army of ghosts to overcome obstacles and overcome obstacles. Chapter 1. Complaint Transformation System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Late spring, a sunny Friday. Jincheng No. 2 Middle School, Class 3 of Grade 1, during lunch break. The gentle breeze outside the window, the thin floating clouds, everything is so calm. Right. Xia-chan doesn't know how others are doing, but he is currently in a state of turmoil. Immediately, Xia-chan withdrew her gaze from the window, rubbed her eyes vigorously, and then picked up a book from the desk in front of her again. Guide to Elf Trainers, ah. Looking at the written text, Xia-chan instinctively took a deep breath with her nose. Immediately after, he put down the book in his hand and then picked up and put down another book that was originally placed on the desk. Guide to Elf Nurturing Households, still like this. Xia-chan whispered to herself, then breathed a long sigh of relief as if accepting her fate, sigh. After repeated confirmation, Xia-chan has now confirmed that everything is not a dream. In his sleep, he has traveled to a world where a person coexists with elves. The so-called elves are species derived from the Pokémon series and its derivative works, which are creatures with both mysterious origins and incredible powers. However, looking at the situation around her and using the mirror of her desk mate to look at her handsome face, Xia-chan had a vague understanding of the current situation. This world may be a parallel world of blue stars. He is still the beautiful young man shining like a jade tree in front of the wind, and his classmates are still those same. However, the subjects he originally studied in high school, such as mathematics, language, and foreign languages, have become all related subjects centered around elves, while subjects such as mathematics, language, and foreign languages have become auxiliary subjects. Once you come, be content with it. As a surfing teenager, Xia-chan learned a lot of unscientific information about rebirth, time travel, etc. on the internet. After a burst of emotional turmoil, he has calmly accepted the change. In her childhood, Xia-chan also fantasized about owning her own elf and embarking on an adventurous journey as a trainer. Unfortunately, his increasingly heavy academic workload prevented him from focusing too much energy on other things besides studying, to the extent that his understanding of Pokémon was only superficial and not deep. Coming into this world where humans and elves coexist now can be considered as making up for the regret of childhood. As for her lack of understanding of Pokémon, Xia-chan didn't care at all, let alone regret it. In his opinion, it is more exciting to learn about elves through personal contact rather than through virtual means. As Xia-chan accepted reality and was full of anticipation for the future, she suddenly felt some hard and straight object poking at his back. This kind of touch should be a pen. The thought flashed through Xia-chan's mind, and at the same time, she turned around and indeed saw a mushroom head in the back seat, with a doll-faced young man wearing round framed glasses holding a pen in his hand. Lin Qing, what's wrong? You want me to accompany you to go shush? Xia-chan asked first. Lin Qing has been sitting in the back seat of him since he entered the first year of high school, often going to the bathroom with him and conspiring with him for big plans. Lin Qing shook his head and then asked excitedly, have you seen the top trending news on Lingbo now? No, Xia-chan replied upon hearing the words. He just adjusted his mindset and accepted reality, so he didn't have the heart to brush up on Lingbo. Take a look. It's absolutely shocking news. Lin Qing urged with high emotions. Okay, I'll take a look now, Xia-chan said as she touched her pants pocket and asked, just tell me directly, why do I have to look at it myself? Big news, of course, you have to watch it yourself to be the most shocking. Lin Qing replied with a smile. That's right. Xia Chan nodded nonchalantly upon hearing the words, then opened the phone screen and clicked on the red big eye icon of Lingbo in the upper right corner of the interface. Jincheng No. 2 High School has an open-minded school atmosphere, allowing students to carry their phones freely as long as they are not using them during class hours. Xia Chan swiped his fingertips on the screen and clicked on Lingbo Hot Search. The first thing that appeared in front of him was Hot Search First, which had a deep red, explosive suffix that was hard not to notice. A quasi-champion trainer. The title has a limited number of words and cannot present all the content. Fong Xin immediately clicked on the title font, and the overall title interface popped up. Under the command of the Heavenly King trainer Ma Weijia, the main Elf Electric Warcraft has been confirmed to have entered the quasi-champion level through energy testing, becoming the 9th quasi-champion level trainer in China. Ma Wei's family knows that the Hunyuan represents the head of the Tai Chi sect and is a famous martial arts master in the divine realm. He also knows that Electric Shock Warcraft is the final evolution of the electric-type Elf Electric Shock monster in the Pokémon series. 3 generations living together, he could roughly understand the meaning of being a quasi-champion, but when he saw these words appearing in the same sentence and ranking first on Lingbo's Hot Search, Xia Chan was immediately surprised. Although he has accepted the fact of time travel, it will take some time to change his long-standing cognition. After being amazed, Xia Chan lightly swiped the screen with her fingertips and opened the popular comments under the Hot Search. A loyal fan of Teacher Ma. You truly are my first favorite Teacher Ma. After liking 100000, I went to meet Teacher Kima and attacked him with a left kick. Number of likes. 99999. Xia Chan casually gave a like upon seeing this, and the number of likes was just enough to reach 100000. Only with a country can there be a home. Shenzhou, truly a world power. Likes. 66665. Xia Chan silently likes again. Jia Gui Electric Eel. I believe that Ma Tianwang's Electric Warcraft is definitely one of the top 10 electric elves in China, especially its special skill of Lightning 6 Whips, which is amazing. Likes. 54382. Is a bag dragon, not a dragon. Ma Bao is great. Mom loves you. Likes. 48889. Male mother goes to poop. As the name suggests. Likes. 43577. Looking at the dense comments and content on the screen, Xia Chan felt an itch in her head, with an illusion of wanting to grow her brain. Xia Chan, what's wrong with you? The birth of my 9th quasi-champion trainer in Shenzhou is indeed an exciting thing, but you shouldn't react so much. It was you last night. Lin Qing noticed Xia Chan's expression was slightly grim and spoke in surprise. Stop. What a mess, I just suddenly have a headache. Xia Chan replied angrily, then put the phone lock screen into her pants pocket and turned around. Lin Qing curled her lips at the sight, not knowing why, and quickly turned around to chat with the girl at her desk again. Xia Chan, who was just over his body, propped his arms on the table and continuously kneaded his temples with his hands, trying to relieve the pain that had turned from itching to pain in his head. However, this method did not work at all, and his head was getting more and more painful. At the same time, a large amount of memories flooded into Xia Chan's mind. When the last memory merged with Xia Chan's original memory, the headache disappeared and he finally regained his senses. After fusing his own memories from this world, Xia Chan's conjecture was verified, and it was indeed not the blue star he had previously been on, but a parallel world of blue stars. At the same time, he also obtains more information about the world by fusing his own memories. This is a world filled with gates of different dimensions. Originally, this world was no different from the blue star where Xia Chan was located, but due to the sudden arrival of a different dimensional space gate over 200 years ago, this world evolved into what it is now. Behind the numerous doors of different dimensional spaces distributed around the world, there are various wonderful spaces, big and small. Among them, there are not only various treasures and ancient relics, but also a variety of strange creatures. known as Elves. Fortunately, the vast majority of the elves in the space teleportation gates are considered friendly, but they are only considered friendly. When the remaining small number of unfriendly riot elves attack, very few of them choose to help humans, and most choose to watch with their sleeves. Unfortunately, over 200 years ago, humans in this world had not yet developed hot weapons and could only use cold weapons. Although all humans have ended their civil wars and fought against far fewer riot elves in the same camp, they are still unable to defeat the incredible power of the riot elves. For a while, human casualties were severe. But humans did not give up on this. They rushed into the space of another dimension, risking their lives to bring back some rare treasures and a large amount of ancient relics information to human society. By studying the rare treasures and relics brought back by humans, human elf technology has rapidly developed, creating special elf technology weapons that can temporarily control elves in addition to cold weapons. With these elf technology weapons, humans at that time brought back more exotic treasures and relic information from the space of different dimensions. In this way, human technology related to elves became increasingly advanced, and our understanding of elves also deepened. Elf balls, elf trainers, and others emerged, and humans began to use elves to fight against them. With rapid changes, to this day, elves have become an indispensable part of human life. Various dimensional space gates have also been basically controlled by humans from various countries, and those rebellious elves have been suppressed in the space behind the gates. Meanwhile, as the backbone of guarding the gates of different dimensions in every country, elf trainer has become a popular profession. Elf cultivators and other professions related to elves have also become popular career choices for humans in various countries with the support of various countries. However, Xia Chan also discovered that this world is not exactly the same as the Pokémon series. Basic features, moves, tactics, attributes, rare treasures, and even the strange power of Pokémon super evolution have been discovered and understood by humans. However, mysterious powers such as extreme transformation and crystallization do not exist in this world. Silence. Get ready for class. Suddenly, a resounding and powerful voice interrupted Xia Chan's thoughts. Xia Chan looked up and realized that her lunch break had passed before she knew it. Now, this afternoon class has started. This class is a foreign language class, and now the college entrance examination has listed elf-related subjects as the main subject. Elf battles are the foundation of the college entrance examination, and subjects such as mathematics and foreign languages account for a small proportion of the score. At this moment, Xia Chan has no intention of listening to the foreign language teacher lecturing on stage, her mind full of elves. Teenagers are the future of every country. After a century of scientific analysis, experts from various countries have determined that teenagers aged 15 or 6 have sufficient mental and ability to train and command elves. Overcoming elves too early may create danger. Therefore, typically teenagers can only tame their first elf, register as a trainer, and enjoy some of the country's privileges at the appropriate age. Except for some talented descendants of trainers at the level of heavenly kings and above, they can tame their first elf and register as trainers at the earliest age of 13, which is an unwritten rule. Xia Chan, who happens to be 15 and a half years old this year, is about to tame her first elf and become an elf trainer. The levels of trainers in this world are divided into beginner level, regular level, elite level, senior level, town level, quasi-king level, quasi-champion level, as well as the currently only conceptual levels of Ruoshan level and Chuanshi level. Elves are classified according to energy levels, and their levels are also closely related to the trainer's level. The strongest elf cultivated by the trainer is at what energy level, and the trainer is at what level. For example, as soon as Xia Chan saw Ma Wei's family, who had climbed to the top of Lingbo's hot search, and the strongest elf electric shock warcraft energy level he had cultivated, he stepped into the quasi-champion level. He immediately promoted from a heavenly king level trainer to a quasi-champion level trainer. The higher the level of trainers, the more preferential treatment they can enjoy from the country. There are currently 9 quasi-champion trainers like Ma Weijia in China, each of whom can enjoy extremely high preferential treatment from the country. At present, the strongest known level of trainer in the world is the champion trainer. In many countries, there is only one or no champion trainer sitting, while in China, there are 2 champion trainers sitting, living up to the name of the world's top power. Sigh. As a traveler, I don't have a system around me. It's really sad and lamentable. Xia Chan's thinking gradually diverged, and she thought of many things before suddenly feeling something in her heart. Ding! The resentment conversion system has been activated. Chapter 2. Collecting complaints and initial experiences. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Activation reward. Insight I is now issued. The resentment conversion system. The Eye of Insight. You really mean the system will arrive. Xia Chan was briefly surprised by the sudden appearance of the system, but quickly accepted it calmly. He has all traveled, isn't it normal to have a system? But what does the name of this system mean? It doesn't sound domineering at all. Xia Changgang secretly complained in his heart, and a memory suddenly emerged in his mind. Insight I. Insight into elf information. Complaint value. 0 inch. Meanwhile, a clean and concise interface emerged in his mind. Xia Chan's consciousness quickly swept through the interface content, and then merged into the memory that had just surged in her mind. After a moment, Xia Chan's heart became clear. This memory is a guide that documents the usage and effectiveness of the resentment conversion system. The resentment conversion system is as simple as its interface. Xia Chan can use the resentment conversion system to specifically display other people's grievances towards him, and these grievances will be stored in the system interface in the form of resentment values. 1,000 resentment points can be converted into 1 increase point, and Xia Chan can use this 1 increase point to strengthen any elf at will, giving it a slight improvement in stamina, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Moreover, when Xia Chan strengthens the elves, his physique can also receive a reward of 1,000th of the increase in points. Take off. After reading the user manual in her mind, Xia Chan was immediately overjoyed. The comprehensive improvement of a sprite by 1 increase in points is negligible, and the 1,000th increase in their physical fitness is almost negligible. But what if it were 10 increase points, 100 increase points, 1,000 increase points, or even more increase points? Xia Chan seemed to have seen a green caterpillar colliding with a cracked empty seat at the speed of lightning and resisting a beam of destructive light unscathed with her physical body. Not quite right. Not long after the joy, Xia Chan realized that the prerequisite for him to convert the increase points was to obtain enough resentment points, and the way to obtain resentment points was to make others resent him. For so long, he has been disliked by everyone. How about being disliked by others? For the sake of my future elves and myself, even if someone dislikes me, I will recognize them. Faced with the temptation of increasing the number of points, Xia Chan felt overwhelmed. I am determined not to hesitate, even if I become the villain in people's eyes in the future. Ding ling ling, class is over. As Xia Chan was making up her mind, a pleasant bell rang for the end of class, and the tedious and lengthy foreign language class finally came to an end. Xia Chan didn't hear a few letters in the entire textbook. After hearing the bell ringing for the end of class, she only thought about finally ending class and trying out the effect of the resentment conversion system. Thinking in her heart, Xia Chan turned her head to look at Lin Qing, who had quickly switched from a drowsy state to a refreshed state. With just one glance, Xia Chan was certain that Lin Qing was the best candidate for him to experiment with the resentment conversion system, the lucky one in the class. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? Lin Qing saw Xia Chan looking at her with a malicious smile, and her heart suddenly thumped. She swallowed her saliva and said sternly. Indeed, enough crickets. Xia Chan nodded and continued to smile. Brother Lin, WC. Go. I feel like I haven't seen your little silkworm for a long time, and I've been thinking of it a bit. Lin Qing's face turned black instantly upon hearing this. What's wrong with Xiao? Am I currently developing? Naming my good brother little silkworm baby is unreasonable. Abnormal. Get lost. Lin Qing gritted his teeth for nearly a minute before finally squeezing out a few words between his teeth. Collect grievances from Lin Qing, +50, +50, +50. Just a joke, don't be angry, let's go. Xia Chan heard the continuous appearance of fonts on the system interface in her mind, and immediately smiled and reached out to pull Lin Qing, half pushing and half pulling him to the toilet. However, when Lin Qing released the water, she deliberately kept a distance from Xia Chan, not wanting Xia Chan to see her good brother. +20, +20. Looking at the increasing resentment in her mind, Xia Chan couldn't help but smile on her face as she poured water. She thought to herself, sure enough, no man can stand his good brother being called a silkworm baby. Collect resentment from Li Chang, +1, +1, +1. Who is Li Chang? What's the situation? Xia Chan trembled and picked up her pants. Suddenly, a strange name's resentment towards him came to mind, which made him feel a bit strange. He turned his head and suddenly realized it. It turned out that it was the boy from another class who was pouring water beside him. Seeing his happy expression when he was pouring water, he couldn't help but be distracted, causing him to lose direction and jump onto his shoes with some water. Can this also blame me? Although Xia Chan couldn't understand, she still gladly accepted the resentment value from the other party, accumulating a little makes a lot. After the water was released, Lin Qing returned to the class and her resentment towards Xia Chan had dissipated. Complaint value 757. Looking at the high resentment value provided by Lin Qing to herself, Xia Chan stopped deliberately stimulating Lin Qing and talked about the future with her. Lin Qing and Xia Chan have different ideas. In the future, he wants to inherit his father's legacy and become a forest ranger. In his words, brother, there is no lofty ambition. Protecting a forest is a lifelong ideal. Ding ling ling. The two chatted for a while again, and the bell for class rang. Fong Xian turned around. This class is about history. The history teacher passionately talked about modern history and the coexistence of humans and elves on stage. Xia Chan did not lose focus this time, but listened attentively to what the teacher was saying on stage. There is information he already knows, as well as some information that he did not have in his previous memory. For example, elves were not initially referred to as elves, but rather as Warcraft. Before the invention and mass production of Pokeballs, humans used Warcraft equipment to control Warcraft. Throughout the class, the history teacher also talked about many detailed modern historical events, and Xia Chan benefited greatly from listening. After the history class, there were 2 consecutive classes, mathematics and Chinese. Xia Chan listened to these 2 classes, but did not fully listen until the bell rang for the last class, when he finally withdrew his divergent thoughts. Xia Chan quickly tidied up the scattered textbooks on the table and put them into her backpack. Just as she was about to carry them home, she heard a loud sound coming from outside the door. Classmates, please stop the movements of your hands and feet first. I have something to talk about. Before she could finish speaking, a middle-aged woman with a slightly plump figure and dressed in deep red work clothes walked into the class carrying a neat wooden box. The person who came is Li Guixia, the homeroom teacher of Class 3 of Jincheng No. 2 High School and Grade 1 High School. Chapter 3. Red flowers also require green leaves to match. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Sigh. Every time after school, there's nothing to do. Ah. The sudden appearance of homeroom teacher Li Guixia at the end of school caused a lot of sigh in the class. Even without system prompts, Xia Chan could sense the resentment that the students were experiencing at this moment, but unfortunately, these grievances did not belong to him, otherwise he could have obtained a large amount of resentment points. The complaints of the students were extremely small, and the homeroom teacher Liguatia couldn't hear what the students were saying. She could only hear a buzzing sound in her ear, similar to the sound of mosquitoes. Bang! Scream, quiet. Class teacher Liguatia arrived at the podium and saw a lot of delicate sounds in the classroom. She immediately smashed the wooden box in her hand onto the podium and scanned the floor with her eyebrows and eyes, warning. Seeing the homeroom teacher angry, the students in the classroom immediately sat upright, each of them honestly closing their mouths and pretending to listen with their ears raised. Next Monday, we will have class assignments and identity registration. As soon as the homeroom teacher finished speaking, there was an immediate uproar in the classroom. What? The shift will start next Monday. You need to focus on the key points. The key is not class division, but identity registration. Just over a month after entering high school, did we start dividing classes and registering identities. I remember our previous class only started dividing classes and registering identities half a semester ago. Listening to the discussions of her classmates around her, Xia-chan remained calm on the surface, but her heart was also extremely excited. The so-called division of classes is not a distinction between literature and science, but a distinction between training and cultivation. The training class, also known as the training home class, mainly focuses on training elf battles and assisting in elf cultivation. Students in the class become beginner trainers after registering their identities. And the cultivation class is the home cultivation class, where students focus on cultivating elves and health management, assisting in learning and training elf battles. Professions such as elf doctors and elf researchers are the main branches of elf cultivators, and students in the cultivation class will become beginner cultivators after registering their identities. Whether it's a training class or a cultivation class, before registering as an identity, you need to tame a beginner elf that belongs to you. As she was about to have her first elf, Xia-chan couldn't help feeling excited about it. Meanwhile, Xia-chan is also pondering whether to choose a training class or a cultivation class. As far as he knows, the annual tuition fees and registration fees for trainers and cultivators are different. The annual tuition fee for the training class is 60,000 yuan, while the annual tuition fee for the training class is 10,000 yuan. The registration fee for the trainer's identity is 10,000 yuan, and the registration fee for the trainer's identity is 1,000 yuan. The main reason for the significant cost difference between the two is due to national support. Trainers are the main force guarding the spatial dimension gate and have received the most attention. The vast majority of students want to become vocational trainers. But safflower also needs green leaves to match, and trainers also need the help of cultivators. The country not only needs trainers, but also cultivators. In order to allow more students to choose to become cultivators, the country has provided many subsidies for cultivation classes, and after being admitted to corresponding majors in universities, they are also allocated. Trainers or cultivators? Xia-chan was caught in a dilemma. The homeroom teacher knew how sensational this news was for the students, so she didn't directly speak up to stop their discussion. Instead, she deliberately waited for a while before loudly saying, "Quiet. Let me finish speaking first." The homeroom teacher's deterrent power is full, although students are emotionally excited when they hear the news of class division and identity registration, they instantly quiet down when they hear her voice. After the classroom fell silent, the homeroom teacher nodded in satisfaction and continued, "According to the seating order, all students come up to collect the Poké Ball. This is a welfare prepared by the country for students. There is also a class assignment intention form, please fill it out when you go home and remember to bring it to school next Monday to submit, otherwise it will affect your class assignment." The last sentence is also the most important thing. You must subdue the beginner elf before Monday, otherwise it will not only delay your identity registration, but also cause other troubles. After speaking, the class teacher reached into the wooden box and took out a red and white Pokémon ball, signaling the students to start queuing up to collect it. Elf balls not only limit the power of elves, but can also be large or small. Pressing and holding the button in the center of the ball allows the ball to adjust between two sizes. Larger elf balls are as big as a baseball and easier to throw, while smaller elf balls are as big as a ping-pong ball and easier to carry, making them special props for subduing elves. The elf ball in the class teacher's hand is the most ordinary red and white ball, and there are also more effective advanced balls on top of it. A red and white Pokémon ball is worth 3,000 yuan, while the price of a premium ball is 10 times that of a red and white ball, which is comparable to the price of an ordinary Pokémon egg. 3,000 yuan, not much, but already quite a bit. The government distributes a free Pokémon ball to each student, which shows the current emphasis on the new generation of trainers and cultivators. Excitedly, looking at the red and white balls the size of a ping-pong ball in the hands of the homeroom teacher, the students consciously lined up in front of the podium in order of their positions, collecting the Pokémon ball and the intention sheet for class division. As fewer and fewer students lined up in front of her, Xia-chan, who was in the middle of the queue, came to the podium and received a red and white elf ball and a class assignment letter. Xia-chan, the teacher suggests that you choose to become a cultivator. After handing Xia-chan the Pokémon ball and the intention sheet for class division, the homeroom teacher Li Guixia spoke softly. Xia-chan was slightly taken aback at the words, then nodded and said, "Thank you for the teacher's advice." Then he put the Pokémon ball and intention sheet into his backpack, and the backpack left. On the way home, Xia-chan pondered over the advice his homeroom teacher had given him. He understood that the suggestion from homeroom teacher Li Guixia was kind, but soon he had made a decision and no longer hesitated. The suggestion was good, but he didn't listen. If he knew the Pokémon series well, he might choose to become a cultivator, but the reality is that he has only a partial understanding of the Pokémon series, and there is also a resentment conversion system that can enhance both the Pokémon and himself. Compared to the two professions, a trainer is more suitable for him. He is a boy who travels through time and has a system. His future goal should be to become a legendary trainer that only exists in the concept. How can he go astray? Although Xia-chan had previously learned that the tuition fees for the training class were higher than those for the training class, and the registration fees for the trainer's identity were also higher than those for the cultivator's identity, after weighing the pros and cons, she still firmly determined her mind and decided to choose to become a trainer. After making a choice, Xia-chan suddenly felt relieved and the air was slightly sweeter. Why is it getting sweeter and sweeter? It seems to have a fruity aroma. Xia-chan thought to herself and looked up in the direction of the fragrance. Chapter 4. The Unchanged Situation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia-chan followed Xiang and saw a big sister dressed as an office worker walking from his other direction, accompanied by a petite elf. This elf is less than half a meter tall, with a pair of small yellow eyes and a shape that looks like a half-skinned bamboo. On its head is 3 sepals, 2 of which grow horizontally and look very cute. It can be called a true teenage killer. After arriving in this world, Xia-chan saw a living elf for the first time. As it approached closer, she immediately used her insight eye to detect its information. Sweet bamboo gender. Female height. 0.3 m weight. 2.3 kilograms attribute. Grass characteristic. Dull, not easily fall into a state of obsession and provocation, qualification. Normal level, qualification rating. Beginner level, normal level, elite level, senior level, town level, quasi-heavenly king level, quasi-champion level, if god level, legacy level, energy level. 16. Regular mid-term, mastering moves. Jump up, get along well, spin at high speed, fly leaves and knives, sweet aroma, act coquettishly sweet bamboo that looks very sweet in Shenzhou. Wild elves with malicious intent towards humans will never be allowed to enter cities, and each city has detailed regulations based on its size. According to the unique regulations of Jincheng, Any wild elf with an energy level higher than the normal level, regardless of whether it is malicious to humans, is not allowed to enter the city. Even if the elf is tamed by the trainer and has an energy level higher than the normal level, it is not allowed to be released in an undetermined location. The energy level of this sweet bamboo from the office worker's older sister does not exceed the normal level, and it is within the regulations allowed to be released in the city. Xia-chan was heading north, while the office worker's older sister was heading south. Soon, the two of them passed by with a quick glance. As Xia-chan slowly walked forward, she was still distracted by the sweet bamboo information she had just discovered on the system interface in her mind with her insight. Name, gender, height, weight, attributes, characteristics, qualifications, energy level, mastery of moves, with 9 separate columns, the information of sweet bamboo and bamboo is at a glance. Xia-chan, who was using Inside Eye for the first time, was amazed and couldn't help but exclaim, "The system produces it, and it's really amazing." When Xia-chan walked out of the path and entered the main road, there were more pedestrians and vehicles on the road. For safety reasons, Xia-chan withdrew her thoughts and focused on looking at the road. There were more pedestrians and more people following the elves around, and Xia-chan used her insight eye to explore the information of these elves one after another. This is a world where humans coexist with elves. Although not all humans have talent and education related to elves, some may choose to drop out or never attend school due to economic pressure or other reasons. However, these individuals can purchase elf balls and tame elves as adults. Elves and human life are inseparable, and it is easier to do anything with the help of elves, such as building houses, moving furniture, cooking, climbing, exploring, and even buying groceries. Along the way, Xia-chan saw many elderly grandparents, accompanied by an elf carrying a vegetable basket. Watching the scenes of people and elves interacting with each other, Xia-chan couldn't wait to go home. She carefully considered the novice elves she was about to subdue, and her walking pace quickened a bit. The residential area where Xia-chan's family is located is not too far from the school. He walked along the main road and turned left on a small road. After walking for about 10 minutes, he arrived at a seemingly imposing residential area called Happy Home. At the entrance of the community, the security guard was standing guard with a little York. When he saw Xia-chan returning with a backpack, the guard smiled and said, "Xiao-chan is back." Wang. As soon as the old man finished speaking, little York let out a roar at Xia-chan and also greeted him. "Hello Mr. Wang." Xia-chan responded with a smile and then approached little York. She squatted down and rubbed its soft long hair, saying, "You too, little York." After evolution, the beard is the essence, Wang. Little York didn't like Xia-chan's rubbing, so he called out to him and hid at Uncle Wang's lap. "Goodbye, Mr. Wang." Xia-chan didn't mind and stood up to wave goodbye to Mr. Wang. She took the exit card from her blue and white school uniform pocket and swiped it to enter the community. Bang! Quickly, Xia-chan arrived at the door, opened the thick anti-theft door with a key, and entered the room. Looking at the empty room, Xia-chan sighed silently. In the original world, Xia-chan's family elders had already passed away due to illness, while his parents were both frontline police officers. In the year he was 12 years old, both of them sacrificed themselves in a mission. He was originally supposed to be sent to an orphanage, but an uncle who was a mutual friend of his parents took the initiative to serve as his guardian, which prevented him from being sent to the orphanage. However, the uncle who serves as his guardian is very busy, so he usually lives alone in the house left for him by his parents. His situation in this world has not changed either, but his parents' mission has shifted from besieging criminals to guarding the gates of another dimension, and the ultimate outcome is sacrifice. Sigh. Xia-chan sighed, changed her slippers, walked into the living room, and threw her backpack and herself onto the soft sofa. For him now, the only consolation is that his uncle, who serves as his guardian, transfers his living expenses every month, and he also receives compensation from the state after his parents have sacrificed their lives. Even if becoming an elf trainer requires money, purchasing and nurturing elves also requires money, and he doesn't have to worry about money in the short term. People always have to live, and after 4 years of living alone, Xia-chan has become much stronger than most of her peers. Originally, Xia-chan's life was aimless, but now in this world where humans and elves coexist, he has found his goal. He wants to become the strongest trainer, and elves possess extraordinary powers. Perhaps by then, he can reverse time and space and save his parents. Gollum, as Xia-chan was daydreaming about the future, a sudden sound came from his stomach. Originally, Xia-chan wanted to find out which type of elf was suitable as a beginner elf, but the sudden hunger sensation made him change his mind. Let's fill our stomachs first and then check again. Later, Xia-chan went to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, took out a piece of kun leg meat and other seasonings, and made a braised kun leg rice for herself. This world not only has elves, but also ordinary animals. However, the ordinary animals in this world are all artificially raised, and there are very few ordinary animals that can survive in the wild. After all, they are not on the same level as elves with strange powers. If it were not for human feeding and intervention, ordinary animals would have been extinct. Hungry Xia-chan quickly wiped out a large bowl of braised kun leg rice. When he put down his chopsticks, only a clean kun bone remained in the bowl. Always ordering takeout will eventually get tiresome, so Xia-chan started cooking by himself at the age of 13.5. After 2.5 years of practice, his cooking skills have now become perfected. Gududu. After finishing her meal, Xia-chan took another large glass of water and drank it all in one gulp. After eating and drinking, Xia-chan quickly cleaned her water cup and rice bowl, placed them in their original place, picked up her phone by the table, entered her bedroom, shook off her slippers, and jumped onto the bed, opening the Lingbo interface. Chapter 5. Recommendation for Beginner Elves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia-chan lay in bed, her fingertips sliding on her phone screen, opening the search interface of Lingbo. Subsequently, he entered a line of words in the search box, recommended by beginners. After touching the search font with her fingertips, the page immediately flipped, and a large number of entry links related to beginner elf recommendations appeared in front of Xia-chan. There are dozens of entry links on just one page, and all related entry links combined can have at least tens of thousands. Xia-chan was a bit dizzy for a moment, not knowing which link to click first. Difficulty in choosing is really painful. After some hesitation, Xia-chan decided to first read the content of the link with the highest number of likes. The title of this link is Lost Beginner Trainers, Come In Quickly. Here is everything you want to know, and the author is named Nan Shanka. Judging from this name, Xia-chan blindly guessed that he was a middle-aged uncle. Immediately, Xia-chan tapped the title with her fingertips and opened the link. At the beginning, the author of the article, Nan Shanka, opened the door and wrote directly, as we all know, there are 18 types of elf attributes, including general, flying, fire, water, electricity, rock, evil, superpower, ghost, grass, fairy, ice, ground, poison, steel, fighting, dragon, and insect. Each attribute of the sprite has its own uniqueness. So which attribute sprite is most suitable for beginners if it comes to real-time combat power? Combat attribute elves are undoubtedly the best among all elves, but are combat attribute elves really suitable as beginner elves? I don't think so. To be precise, cultivating combat attribute elves requires a large amount of resources in the early stages and is not suitable for beginner trainers from ordinary families to consider them as beginner elves. If you are a wealthy second generation or a well-rounded training second generation, please ignore the author's suggestion. Any attribute sprite is suitable as your initial sprite, so what kind of attribute of sprite is suitable for novice trainers in ordinary families as beginner sprites? There is only one answer, and that is the grass attribute elf. Firstly, there are a large number of grass attribute elves, including those with high qualifications, and their elf eggs are sold at a very affordable price. Secondly, grass attribute elves can survive by drinking water and photosynthesis, and can be cultivated with good combat power without requiring too many resources. After reading the entire article, Xue-chan fell into contemplation. The province where Jincheng is located is Baitian Province, with its capital being Shangtian City. Baitian Province stands at the northernmost point of the land of Shenzhou, while Jincheng is at the northernmost point of Baitian Province. As is well known, the land of China is incredibly vast, with different regions having different regional characteristics. In this world, these regional characteristics are not only reflected in the environment and diet, but also in the wonderful space behind the door of the dimensional space. Jincheng can barely be considered a fourth-tier city. Although its economy is not particularly developed and its urban area is not large, it excels in its proximity to the sea and abundant water resources. The wonderful space behind the tightly guarded outer dimensional space gates around Jincheng and within the city is often associated with jungles and water bodies. This also leads to a higher number of grass attribute elves and water attribute elves around Jincheng. The grass attribute elf suggested by the author of the article, Nan Shanka, is indeed very suitable for the summer cicada, which has a unique geographical advantage. After some contemplation, Xue-chan still did not make an immediate decision and clicked on several links and read several articles one after another. The content in these articles is similar, and it is generally recommended that novice trainers use grass attribute sprites as beginner sprites. There are also articles suggesting that novice trainers use fire or water attribute sprites as beginner sprites, taking into account future issues. After flipping through it for a while, Xue-chan casually threw her phone to her pillow and looked out the dimly lit window. She decided not to read more recommended articles and went directly to the Jincheng Elf Home tomorrow to see elf eggs and newly born elves. As for the direction, choose the water attribute sprites or grass attribute sprites with a larger number in Jincheng, otherwise watching too many will be dazzling. For someone with choice difficulties, having too many choices is not a good thing. At the same time, with an eye for insight in her body, Xue-chan was not worried that she might overlook it. Buzz. Xue-chan was staring out the window in a trance when the phone next to her pillow suddenly vibrated continuously. Picking up her phone and opening the screen, Xue-chan saw an additional line of red numbers outside the green bubble icon on Lingxin, representing the number of messages not received. Xue-chan rarely socializes and doesn't communicate with classmates. Could it be that she has sent him so many messages? Thinking in his heart, Xue-chan opened his spiritual message, and when he saw the source of the news, he knew he was overthinking. All the messages that were not received came from a group chat called Class 3 Big Family, which is their class group. Except for the homeroom teacher Li Guixia, all the students in the group are from Class 3 of Grade 1. At this moment, the group is lively discussing which type of elf to tame as their beginner elf. Most of the students in the class are locals from Jincheng, and they share the same ideas as Xue-chan. They tend to choose sprites with water and grass attributes as their beginner sprites. Xue-chan looked at it for a while, but there was nothing he wanted to publish. The continuous shaking of messages reminded him to feel a bit annoyed, so he simply threw his phone on the bed, got out of bed, went to the living room, and turned on the TV. TV connects to the internet, where there are various film and television works, including TV, movies, anime, variety shows, and more. Xue-chan used a remote control to switch the screen and found that the film and television works in this world were different from the original world. The protagonists had changed from humans to elves, and the visual effects were even more dazzling. Among them, horror films had the most obvious changes. The actors in horror movies and TV shows in this world are all ghostly elves, and just watching the trailer clip, Xue-chan can feel the different effects from watching horror movies in the original world. It looks very exciting. After watching the previews of several horror films, Xue-chan chose to watch a horror film called Ghost of the Castle. The main character is the ghost, the dual system spirit of fire, the crystal lantern spirit, and the supporting role is the spirit of candlelight, the lantern spirit and other ghost attributes, as well as several human beings who play unlucky people. The movie was broadcasted, with terrifying sound effects and the exquisite acting skills of the ghostly elves with their own special effects. Xia-chan quickly immersed herself in it. After watching for a few minutes, Xia-chan felt something was wrong. She looked up and realized that the light was too bright, affecting the viewing effect. Ga-da. Immediately, Xia-chan got up from the sofa and catapulted to the front of the hanging light switch in the living room. She pressed the switch and returned to the sofa, fully immersed herself in the movie. Ah! During the movie's broadcast, there were occasional screams of humans in the film, and Xia-chan in the dimly lit environment also trembled. I'm a bit scared. But the feeling of wanting to see it is even stronger. Time passed by minute by second, and soon the movie had reached its white-hot stage. The behind-the-scenes Big Boss Crystal Lantern spirit was completely displayed in front of the humans in the castle, and Xia-chan's heart also rose with the fear expression of the humans in the movie. Yawning. It was originally a tense moment with an accelerating heartbeat, but Xia-chan suddenly yawned for no reason. At the same time, an extremely strong sense of drowsiness hit, and his blinking frequency decreased until he completely closed, with even breathing sounds coming out. Chapter 6. Wild Ghost Series. You are listening at novelfull.audio. ZZZZ. Xia-chan, who was watching a horror movie, suddenly felt a strong sense of drowsiness and fell asleep in just a few blinks. However, this dream is not a beautiful dream, but a nightmare. In the dream, Xia-chan witnessed the death of his parents. He cried and roared, but his body could not move at all. He could do nothing but witness everything happening. Don't. Xia-chan let out a roar in his heart, and then he suddenly woke up from the nightmare and opened his eyes. As soon as Xia-chan opened her eyes, she noticed a sprite floating in front of the TV, almost half a meter tall, with a dark green and almost transparent body, a hairstyle resembling phosphorus fire, and a bright red bead string hanging around her neck. The incarnation of emoticons. Little Dream Demon, is this? Dream Demon. Xia-chan was first surprised and then delighted when she saw the Dream Demon in front of the TV. She did not panic due to the appearance of the Dream Demon. The wild elves that could enter the Jincheng must have no malicious intent towards humans, and their energy level did not exceed the normal level. This also indirectly indicates that this Dream Demon has a high probability of being a beginner-level elf, meeting the standards of beginner elves. Xia-chan, who was filled with anticipation, immediately used the insight eye on the Dream Demon. Misdreavous gender. Female height. 0.5 m weight. 0.7 kilograms attribute. Ghost feature. Floating, ignoring gravity, floating on the ground, can avoid attacks from most ground attribute moves, qualification. Elite level, qualification rating. Beginner level, normal level, elite level, senior level, town level, quasi-heavenly king level, quasi-champion level, if god level, legacy level, energy level. 5. For beginners and middle students, mastering techniques such as shouting, chanting, and hypnosis. What a beginner-level Dream Demon. It also has elite-level qualifications. Xia-chan couldn't conceal her excitement when she saw the information in her mind. There is a true saying among trainers in this world: the upper limit of elf growth depends on their aptitude, and the lower limit depends on the trainer's cultivation. Qualifications include physical strength, speed, strength, mental strength, etc., similar to the race values in games, but not entirely the same. At present, humans have the means to test the energy level of elves while also having the means to test their qualifications. Although research and human discovery have shown that the qualifications of elves can be improved through evolution and energy level enhancement, qualifications largely determine the starting point of elves. The higher the starting point, the higher the height that can be achieved in the future. Therefore, many trainers attach great importance to the qualifications of elves. Under normal circumstances, a wild beginner-level elf will generally have beginner-level qualifications, and higher levels will have ordinary-level qualifications. For example, the sweet bamboo that Xia Chan had previously explored with her insight was an ordinary-level elf with ordinary-level talents, which is the most common phenomenon among elves. Elves with more than energy-level qualifications are truly rare. Now, there is a beginner-level dream demon with elite-level qualifications in front of Xia Chan. But why can it learn hypnosis? Excited, Xia Chan noticed that there was a hypnosis technique in the master moves of the dream demon, which surprised him. At the same time, he thought that his sudden fall asleep just now was because the dream demon had used hypnosis on him in the dark, and he woke up quickly because of the deep pain buried in his heart. However, in his memory of the Pokémon series and this world, although the name of the dream demon contains the word dream, it cannot master hypnotic techniques. This is the real world, not virtual game data. This dream demon may have a natural talent for mastering hypnotic moves. No matter what. This is an excellent beginner-level elf, and it is also a rare ghost type. You must not miss it on second thought. Xia Chan no longer hesitated. His primary goal now was to find a way to subdue the dream demon, and that was all he had. Numerous thoughts were only fleeting, while at the same time, Xia Chan quietly took out the elf ball from her nearby backpack and slowly approached the dream demon. The attention of the dream demon was drawn to the horror movie, and she was completely unaware of Xia Chan's approach. When the distance between the two was less than half a meter, Xia Chan mustered up her strength and threw the elf ball that had been adjusted to a large size into her hand, smashing it at the dream demon. Bang! The moment the elf ball touched the dream demon, it suddenly opened up, and then the dream demon transformed into a white light, which was sucked into the elf ball. Clack! Immediately, the elf ball fell to the ground and began to shake violently. Xia Chan clenches his fists and stares at the flashing red dot in the center of the fairy ball. His heart beats very fast. You must succeed. Click. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. The elf ball shook violently a few times, and the dream demon broke through the ball. Collect resentment from the dream demon, +10, +10, +10. How can the resentment conversion system also collect resentment from elves? Sensing the text prompts appearing on the system interface in his mind, Xia Chan was quite surprised. However, he quickly forgot about it and showed a sunny smile that he thought was very handsome. He looked at the angry dream demon and spoke softly, "Little dream demon, I just said hello to you. Don't be angry, elves have extremely strong learning abilities and can understand human language shortly after encountering humans." As soon as Xia Chan finished speaking, the dream demon let out a fierce cry, while its crimson eyes flickered with light blue superpower fluctuations. The elf ball spread out on the carpet was controlled by the superpower fluctuations and slowly took off. Don't. Xiamengio, calm down. I'll treat you to. Watch a movie. Xia Chan saw that the dream demon wanted to use her chanting moves and control the elf ball to hit him, so she quickly waved her hand and said. The Poké ball was smashed once, but it can still be used. If it is smashed again, it may really be broken. Now he does not have a registered identity and is not qualified to purchase the Poké ball. If this Poké ball is really damaged and cannot be used, then he will be devastated. As for what he said about inviting the dream demon to watch a movie, it was because he suddenly remembered the scene where the dream demon was focused on watching a horror movie just now, and a flash of inspiration flashed in his mind. Upon hearing this, the dream demon first turned her head to glance at the movie scene that was nearing its end, and then turned back to blink her big red eyes at Xia Chan, as if considering. As soon as Xia Chan saw a scene, she immediately took advantage of the heat to hit the railway and said, "Handsome guys never lie." The dream demon let out a soft moan and looked at Xia Chan's face for a while, acknowledging his handsomeness. Then, the light blue superpower in his eyes dissipated, and under the control of his psychic powers, the elf ball slowly ascended into the air and fell. Xia Chan's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He stepped forward to catch the falling Poké ball, then he buttoned the unfolded Poké ball, checked it, and confirmed that it could still be used normally. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. At this moment, the cry of the Dream Demon rang out again, and the movie on TV had finished playing. The screen froze and continued to play on the interface. Here we go. Xia Chan immediately understood and quickly shrunk the Pokémon ball onto the sofa. At the same time, she picked up the remote control nearby and randomly selected a movie with a higher ranking to start playing. Chapter 7. I Conquered the Dream Demon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Dream Demon is wary of Xia Chan and occasionally turns her head to check his movements while watching the movie. After watching it several times and seeing him half lying on the sofa honestly, I gradually let go of my guard and floated in front of the TV, focusing on watching the movie. On the sofa, Xia Chan was playing with a Pokémon ball that had been reduced to the size of a ping-pong ball, pondering in her heart how to subdue the Dream Demon. From the current situation, this Dream Demon really enjoys watching movies. As long as the movies keep playing and he no longer acts rashly, the Dream Demon should not leave in the short term. But the problem is, if he just stared blankly and didn't take action, the Dream Demon would eventually leave. The other party is a ghost-type elf, with a body that can transform into a void and penetrate walls. If the other party wants to leave, even if his leg breaks, he can't catch up. As Xia Chan was secretly feeling anxious, the gentle cry of the Dream Demon rang out again. Xia Chan turned around and saw that the Dream Demon had already floated in front of him at some point, with its nearly transparent dark green body swaying, as if expressing something to him. Are you saying you don't want to see this? Xia Chan looked for a while, and combined with the gaze of the Dream Demon, guessed the general meaning it wanted to express. The Dream Demon nodded at the words and let out a definite cry. After receiving a positive response from Dream Demon, Xia Chan glanced at a row of small characters in the upper left corner of the TV screen, Elf Celebration. He guessed that the movie should be a New Year's Eve movie with more comedy elements. It is obvious that Dream Demons do not like comedy movies. Is it? Xia Chan thought of a possibility. He picked up the remote control and didn't rush to change the movie. Instead, he looked at the Dream Demon and asked in a soft voice, "Little Dream Demon, do you want to watch that kind of movie just now?" Upon hearing this, the Dream Demon first digested the meaning in Xia Chan's words, then nodded and chanted lightly. I see, it's true that the Dream Demon likes to watch movies, but it only likes horror movies and doesn't like other types of movies. Xia Chan understood in her heart and immediately opened the horror movie leaderboard with the remote control, starting with the top-ranked horror movie, Lament. This movie stars the ghost elf Curse Doll, and the visuals are more bloody than the Ghost of the Castle, with a more intricate plot. The Dream Demon is quickly drawn to the visuals shown on television. This horror movie is very exciting, but Xia Chan can't watch it at the moment. His thoughts are all focused on the Dream Demon. Through the various performances of the Dream Demon, Xia Chan had a rough idea in her heart about how to win over the other party. He felt that the temptation of horror movies and his attractive appearance could make the Dream Demon willingly subdued. However, this is just an idea, and the specific implementation results will only be known after trying. Xia Chan was very patient and didn't rush to reveal his purpose. Instead, he quietly waited for the Dream Demon to watch the entire movie. When it was about to automatically play the second-ranked horror movie on the horror movie chart, he picked up the remote control and pressed pause. After watching a horror movie, the Dream Demon was still full of anticipation and was preparing to watch the next one. However, the TV screen suddenly froze, which made it anxiously turn around and float in front of Xia Chan, making a similar cry of request. Xiamengio, the free trial has expired. If you want to continue watching, you must become my companion. Xia Chan felt very uneasy in her heart, but on the surface, she pretended to be calm and smiled. The dream demon hesitated upon hearing this. It wanted to continue watching horror movies without losing its freedom. Becoming my partner not only allows you to become stronger, but also allows you to watch more horror movies. Most importantly, you can see my handsome face every day. How about it, are you really tempted? Xia-chan saw that the dream demon did not refuse decisively, and a flame of hope ignited in her heart, her enthusiasm burning like fire. The desire to become stronger is the instinct of the vast majority of elves, and Xia-chan believes that dream demons are no exception. After hearing this, the dream demon blinked a pair of big red eyes and looked at Xia-chan, lost in thought. Xia-chan looked nervously at the dream demon, waiting for its response. In just a few seconds, Xia-chan's body began to secrete fine beads of sweat. It was still some time before midsummer, and he was sweating not because of the heat, but because of nervousness. After a long time, the dream demon was moved by Xia-chan's sincere gaze or by the conditions he said. She nodded lightly and let out a soft murmur. It agreed. Woohoo! At this moment, Xia-chan could no longer restrain her excitement and roared with joy. After a roar, Xia-chan was afraid that her excited appearance would scare the dream demon, so she suppressed her joy and quickly picked up the elf ball on the sofa. Little dream demon, don't resist this time, Xia-chan warned anxiously before using the Poké ball to subdue the dream demon. The dream demon nodded impatiently and pursed its lips, urging Xia-chan to hurry up and not delay watching horror movies. You have quite a personality. Xia-chan helplessly raised her forehead upon seeing this, then adjusted the elf ball to a larger size and gently tapped it onto the dream demon. Bang! Immediately, the Pokémon ball opened, and the dream demon transformed into a white light and was drawn into the ball. The palm of Xia-chan's palm and the weighty elf ball shook violently, and his heart beat faster. Although the dream demon had agreed to become his elf, he still did not feel completely at ease until he was truly subdued. Dang! Shaking more than 10 times, the Pokémon ball stopped shaking. As the red light in the center of the ball disappeared and a crisp sound sounded, Xia-chan finally subdued the first Pokémon in her training career. I have subdued the dream demon. Xia-chan tightly held the elf ball loaded with the dream demon in her hand, imitating the appearance of the animated male lead Xiao Ji after subduing the elf, and raised the ball to shout. Fortunately, the sound insulation effect of Xia-chan's house is good, otherwise his behavior of shouting in the late night would definitely be complained about by his neighbors. After releasing the suppressed emotions in her heart, Xia-chan pressed the button in the center of the elf ball to release the dream demon from inside. Bang! As soon as she left the Pokémon ball, the dream demon flew to Xia-chan in front of her like a fool. It's not the beauty of the greedy summer cicada, but rather it pounces directly at the remote control in his hand. Here you are, let's see for yourself. Looking at the dream demon that had already been tamed by herself, Xia-chan felt incredibly comfortable. Who else could have tamed a highly qualified beginner-level ghost spirit without spending a penny? Buzzing, the dream demon ignored Xia-chan, who was self-interested, and exerted her powers to try using the remote control to play the movie. After tinkering with it for a while, it didn't play successfully. So, it floated again in front of Xia-chan, who was still immersed in joy, and became cute. Xia-chan couldn't resist the cute attack of the dream demon at all. After understanding its meaning, she patiently taught the dream demon how to use the remote control. Chapter 8. Dreams, Sleepless and Restless, Demons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia-chan never expected that the first time he trained an elf would be to teach it how to use a remote control. The good news, however, is that the dream demon has a high level of intelligence. Xia-chan only taught it once and it was already able to use the remote control alone. Not bad. Xia-chan looked like an old father, watching her little daughter, Dream Demon, use her imagination to control the remote control to play horror movies, increase or decrease the volume, and show a relieved smile. It is obvious that his more than 10 minutes of diligent tutoring have been quite effective. Come lie down on the sofa and watch, it's more comfortable than floating, Xia-chan, the old father, reminded when he saw the dream demon still floating in front of the TV. The dream demon hesitated for a moment and floated onto the sofa, half leaning against Xia-chan, continuing to concentrate on watching the footage on TV. Xia-chan accompanied the dream demon to watch for a while, and then came up with a crucial question. As a ghost-type elf, what should the dream demon eat? Thinking of this, Xia-chan got up and entered the bedroom, took the phone she had gotten up from bed, returned to the living room, and gently sat down next to the dream demon. Then Xia-chan lightly scratched his fingertips, opened Lingbo, and searched for the issues he was concerned about. Perhaps due to the scarcity of ghost-type elves, Xia-chan only popped up dozens of related links on the screen after searching, which was billions less than the recommended links for beginner elves he had searched before. Choose the difficult technique of Xia-chan and apply it again, and decisively open the link to the article that ranks first in likes. In a blink of an eye, the page jumps, and the content of the article appears in front of Xia-chan. From the article, Xia-chan learned that although the dream demon can absorb the fear of other creatures with the red bead string hanging around its neck and use it as its own nutrition, the nutrition it obtains through this method can only sustain life and is not enough to support its long-term release of energy. Usually, it still needs to rely on ghost energy blocks as its main food. However, beginner-level dream monsters cannot absorb pure ghost energy from the ghost energy blocks yet. Ideally, they would need to drink specially formulated moo milk for transition, and wait until their energy level reaches normal before consuming the lowest level of ghost energy blocks. Moo milk is produced in large milk jars of the General Elf series. This type of elf is only female, and the moo milk it produces is highly nutritious for both humans and elves. The specially formulated ghost moo milk can also help the growth of beginner-level elves of the Ghost series. There are stores selling moo milk all over the world. Xia-chan left the Lingbo interface and opened the navigation software. She found a store selling moo milk that was only a few thousand meters away in a straight line, and it was only a 20-minute walk. Subsequently, Xia-chan lightly tapped the screen with her fingertips, clicked on her favorite address, and planned to wake up tomorrow morning to wash up and purchase the special ghost moo milk needed by the dream demon. Do you want to wait for 2 more days? Xia-chan was about to exit the navigation software when she suddenly realized that the store selling moo milk was actually a state-owned enterprise. As long as they are trainers and cultivators with identity, they can enjoy corresponding discounts when consuming in state-owned enterprises. The higher the level, the greater the discount they can enjoy, even newly registered beginner-level trainers are no exception. By the time he completes his identity registration on Monday, he will truly become a beginner-level trainer. At that time, he can enjoy a 9.7% discount by purchasing special ghost moo milk from the store. Forget it. Looking at the dream demon beside him, Xia-chan gave up this idea. Saving money was a good thing, but he wanted the dream demon to drink the special ghost moo milk as soon as possible, so he decided to stick to the original plan. Yawning. As she turned off her phone screen, Xia-chan yawned heavily. This time, his drowsiness was purely a natural physiological reaction, not caused by a dream demon in the dark. Looking at the wall clock, the pointer showed that it was almost 1 a.m. According to his usual biological clock, he was already asleep. Today, due to the appearance of the dream demon, he felt drowsy. Once the drowsiness arises, it becomes uncontrollable. Xia-chan forcefully suppresses the drowsiness and accompanies the dream demon to watch a horror movie for a while, then yawns a few more. Little dream demon, you can watch for yourself. I'm going to sleep. Remember to turn off the TV after watching. Xia-chan saw that the dream demon had no intention of sleeping, so she stood up from the sofa and said, The dream demon responded with a soft moan without turning her head, indicating to Xia-chan that she knew. Xia-chan shook his head helplessly, thinking in his heart that he would first indulge the dream demon for 2 days, and then he must correct its unrestrained behavior of watching horror movies. He didn't care about the cost of running the TV, but he didn't want the dream demon to be addicted to it and affect his training. Trainers must direct their training and battles to cultivate elves, accompanied by the rare treasures needed by the elves. Otherwise, allowing the elves to play recklessly every day, waiting for their energy level to naturally increase, will be very slow. However, the dream demon is still too young to rush into intense training and multiple battles. Being too impatient will only have the opposite effect. Xia Chan plans to wait for the dream demon's energy level to increase and start formal training for it. Xia Chan returned to her room and lay in bed, planning her future training direction for the dream demon in her heart, and soon fell asleep. Perhaps it was because he successfully subdued the dream demon and had just experienced a nightmare. This night was Xia Chan's best sleep quality in recent years. He had a dream, but it was not a nightmare, but a beautiful one. In his dream, he commanded the army of elves and was invincible, using his own strength to suppress all other dimensional space gates in the world. The dream ends and the summer cicada wakes up. Opening her eyes, Xia Chan's first thought was Dream Demon. In last night's dream, the Dream Demon had evolved into a Dream Demon and was his absolute ace. Xia Chan scanned the surroundings and found that the Dream Demon was not in the bedroom. Then he scratched his messy hair like a cuckoo's nest and loudly called out from the bed, "Little Dream Demon." Xia Chan put on her slippers and just as she was about to open the bedroom door, she heard the gentle cry of the Dream Demon coming from the living room. "Still in the living room? Can't you still be watching TV?" Xia Chan couldn't help but suspect upon hearing the sound. Ga. With doubts in her mind, Xia Chan opened the bedroom door and quickly walked to the living room. Watching the unknown horror movie still playing on TV, Xia Chan instinctively showed her insight into the Dream Demon once again. That's right. The characteristic is floating. After exploring, Xia Chan confirmed that she had not made a mistake before and that the characteristic of the Dream Demon was floating. Xia Chan believes that the insight given to him by the system will not go wrong. But if he had no discerning eye, judging solely from the fact that the Dream Demon was still energetic after watching a horror movie all night without sleep, he would definitely believe that the characteristic of the Dream Demon is sleeplessness rather than floating. You can't watch anymore, you need to rest. Xia Chan cared about the body of the Dream Demon, took 2 steps forward, picked up the remote control next to it, and pressed the close button. Chapter 9. Crystals of the Underworld. You are listening at novelfull.audio. D. Accompanied by a faint sound, the colorful TV screen transformed into pitch black. D. Accompanied by a faint sound, the colorful TV screen transformed into pitch black. The Dream Demon was watching with enthusiasm when she saw the TV screen going black. She immediately turned her head in anger and let out a light chant to Xia Chan. "I want to continue watching." Xia Chan guessed, this is what Dream Demon wanted to express. "Little Dream Demon, you need to leave the virtual on the video screen and return to real life. You can't watch anymore." Xia Chan's attitude was very tough, as she said, putting the remote control into her pajama pocket to prevent Dream Demon from using her imagination to turn on the TV on her own. He highly values the Dream Demon, but he cannot spoil it or indulge its erroneous behavior. The Dream Demon didn't listen to Xia Chan's advice at all and still angrily asked him for the remote control. "No way." Xia Chan first explicitly refused and then asked, "Little Dream Demon, are you hungry?" Coffin. The Dream Demon was taken aback by the words and then nodded. It had just been completely immersed in horror movies, searching for materials for its dreams. Now, hearing Xia Chan's question, it did feel hungry. "You take a break first, I'll go wash up, and then take you to buy delicious food," Xia Chan said with a smile as she saw that Meng Yao's attention had been successfully diverted by him. Ghost-type elves are also living beings, and like humans, they also need to rely on sleep to replenish their physical strength and energy. Excluding elves with the sleepless feature. This time, the dream demon nodded lightly and did not rebel. It floated around the room and finally chose to rest on the summer cicada bed. Based on the current understanding of the dream demon, it still doesn't know what a bed is. It simply chose to rest in bed because there was a distinct scent of summer cicadas on the bed. Meow. It's very reassuring. Before going to wash up, Xue-chan took a glance in the bedroom and found that the dream demon was snuggling next to his pillow, sleeping soundly. This little guy. Xue-chan smirked and turned to the wash basin. Based on the aptitude and energy level of the dream demon, Xue-chan speculates that it should have been born just a short time ago and has just arrived in a spiritual state, belonging to the childhood state of human life. It is precisely because of this that he was able to tame it. Xue-chan's grooming movements are very fast, brushing her teeth, washing her face, and washing her hair in one go. Worried that the sound of the hair dryer might wake up the dream demon, Xue-chan wiped her hair with a dry towel for a long time, but it was still a bit damp. No problem. Xue-chan looked in the mirror and decided to let her hair air dry naturally. After washing up, Xue-chan briefly tidied up the room, changed her pajamas into the sports suit she wore when going out, and then entered the bedroom. The dream demon is still sleeping. Xue-chan glanced at the time displayed on his phone. At 9:12 a.m., he felt that it was still early, so he did not immediately wake up the dream demon. Now that he has tamed the dream demon, there is no need to go to the elf home where he sells elf eggs and young elves. He only needs to purchase some special ghost moo milk that the dream demon needs during its early learning period, which can help the dream demon sleep for a while longer without rushing out. After changing clothes, Xue-chan didn't want to lie in bed anymore, so she went to the computer in the bedroom and sat on the comfortable rotating seat, pressing the power button. While waiting for the power to turn on, Xue-chan picked up a nearby phone and clicked on the spiritual message with a prominent red number in the lower right corner. No surprises, no messages received, still coming from the class chat. Xue-chan lightly swiped her fingertips to open the chat interface. The class group has been discussing topics about elves recently. Some students were so excited that they stayed up all night last night. When the elf house opened for business at 8:30 in the morning, they immediately set off to go there, picking up the upcoming hatching elf eggs or newly hatched baby spirits. Xue-chan quietly dives, after reading the recent group chat records, exits Lingxin and places her phone by the table. Search for cultivation methods for ghost-type elves on the computer's spirit software. He had never expected his beginner elf to be a ghost-type elf before, so he did not make any preparations. But it's not too late to cram for it now. Xue-chan's search for information from the spiritual realm was disorganized. He patiently sorted it out and concluded that the most important aspect for ghost-type elves to exercise was their mental power, followed by their reaction ability, speed, and physical fitness in various directions. To help ghost-type elves grow faster, using a special prop called ghost crystals to assist in exercise has the best effect. The information about the ghost crystals in terms of spirituality is very vague. Xue-chan has read many articles related to ghost crystals and only learned that ghost crystals are produced in a wonderful space behind the door of a different dimensional space. They are formed by the condensation of a special gas called ghost spirit chi, which can assist ghost-type elves in refining their spiritual power. As they are refined more times, the ghost crystals will become smaller and smaller until they completely disappear. Some articles also mention that there is a distinction between quality in the dark crystals, but the specific way to distinguish quality is not explained in the articles. After consulting the ghost crystals, Xue-chan was still preparing to search for special items that could assist in the training of ghost-type elves. However, just as he was about to enter the first word in the search bar, he suddenly felt his scalp tighten. Xue-chan saw through the faint reflection on the computer screen that the dream demon had woken up at some point and was pulling his hair behind her. "Xiao Mengyao, stop making trouble," Xue-chan stopped her movements and said. Later, while Xia Chan turned his head, the dream demon also let go of his hair. Since you've woken up, let's go. Seeing that the dream demon had naturally woken up, Xia Chan turned around and turned off her computer, put her phone in her pocket, and smiled. The dream demon nodded lightly and floated onto the head of the summer cicada. Immediately, Xia Chan's head sank, but this level of weight was within his capacity, so he did not stop the dream demon. Although there is no intimacy in the real world, it is necessary to have a closer relationship with elves to avoid situations where elves do not follow instructions in the future. Xia Chan went to the kitchen to pick up the garbage bag that was almost filled, brought along necessary items such as small elf balls and keys, and walked out of the house with a dream demon on her head. She followed the navigation to the official store selling moo milk. The dream demon doesn't like being exposed to sunlight. As soon as it walked out of the hallway and entered the community, it let out a resistant cry while lying on top of Xia Cicada's head. Little dream demon, you need to learn to adapt. After being exposed to the sun for a long time, you will feel comfortable and even become more beautiful. Xia Chan felt dream demon's thoughts and comforted her. Xia Chan considered that in future battles, he would often play on outdoor fields and inevitably be exposed to sunlight. Therefore, he did not immediately retrieve the Pokémon ball, but rather wanted the Pokémon to adapt to the sunlight. Simply avoiding is not a good way to solve problems. Chapter 10. Increase in value. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The best way to solve problems is to face them. Xia Chan had already checked her spirituality while the dream demon was still asleep, and it was instinctive for ghost-type elves not to be exposed to sunlight. However, being exposed to sunlight does not pose any harm to ghost spirits. Simply adapt to the feeling of being exposed to sunlight and ghost spirits can overcome their instincts. Xia Chan believes that dream demons can overcome their instincts. The dream demon heard Xia Chan say that sunbathing can make her beautiful, and immediately floated in front of him, looking incredulous. Do you think I'm handsome or not? Xia Chan looked at Meng Yao and asked with a smile. Upon hearing this, the dream demon nodded. Although it was an elf, it also recognized Xia Chan's handsomeness. Before the age of 10, I didn't like to sunbathe and looked very ordinary. After 10, I started sunbathing every day, which gave me my current handsome appearance. There is a word called sunshine boy, which humans use to describe handsome appearance. Xia Chan is a serious nonsense. Of course it's true. Xia Chan instantly understood the meaning of the dream demon and knew it was asking, is it really? Then she responded with a firm gaze. Although the dream demon was skeptical after hearing this, she lost her previous resistance and floated onto the head of the summer cicada, enduring the psychological discomfort caused by the sunlight shining on her body. Ma, what's the elf on that handsome guy's head? I want it too. Along the way, a 4 or 5-year-old boy looked up at Xia Chan and the dream demon on his head, while grabbing his mother's hem beside him, looking innocent. That's a ghost-type elf that can be encountered but not sought after. Even if you sell your father, you may not be able to buy it. The boy's mother is very young, looking less than 30, and she is also attracted by Xia Chan and Dream Demon. Her eyes are fixed on Xia Chan while responding to the child. The mother and son didn't deliberately lower their voices, and Xia Chan, who passed by, turned her head to show a sunny smile to the little boy and his young mother. In this situation, Xia Chan has encountered it many times along the way, and it has become commonplace. There's no way, this world has rare attributes such as ghost, superpower, dragon, and fairy, which are difficult to encounter and conquer. With Xia Chan carrying a dream demon and his own charm, it's difficult not to be noticed by others. The body was intertwined, and the dream demon saw the boy still looking at it, so she deliberately made a terrifying face at the boy and absorbed his fear with a red bead string hanging around his neck. Collect grievances from Wu Yaozu +2 +2 +2. At the same time, the interface of the resentment conversion system reappeared in Xia Chan's mind. It's that little boy's resentment. Xia Chan has become accustomed to this, and the dream demon has a strong adaptability, quickly getting used to the sunlight. After getting used to the sunlight, its playful personality quickly exposed, and within just a short 10-minute journey, the system interface had appeared in his mind more than 10 times. However, Xia Chan did not stop the behavior of the dream demon. Since he has a resentment conversion system, he will definitely become a big villain in the eyes of others in the future. The behavior of the dream demon is very in line with the villain style, and he will not support it in time, let alone stop it. Complaint value 1003, convertible. Later, Xia Chan's mind moved and she saw the current level of resentment he had. He hasn't deliberately collected any resentment points these past 2 days. Lin Qing and Dream Demon provided him with the most resentment points, while the rest were scattered resentment points, adding up to just over 1,000. Xia Chan noticed the addition of the word convertible to the number of complaints. He immediately tried to manipulate his mind to touch the 3 words convertible in his mind. At the next moment, the system interface changes. Increase point 1, to be used, complaint value 3 inch. In the blink of an eye, the resentment value transformed into an increase point, leaving only a pitiful number 3 after the resentment value. At the same time, Xia Chan was multitasking and noticed that he had already arrived at the store selling Moo Moo milk. After thinking for a moment, he decided to wait until he got home before using this 1 amplification point to boost the dream demon. Entering the store, Xia Chan quickly arrived at the shelf selling Moo milk under the guidance of the staff. Special water attribute Moo Moo milk, special grass attribute Moo Moo milk, special fire attribute Moo Moo milk. Xia Chan looked up and saw various types of specially made Moo milk on the shelves, which were dazzling and influenced by geography. Among them, the majority were water attribute Moo milk and grass attribute Moo milk. So it's here. Xia Chan looked on the shelf for a long time before finally seeing a few bottles of ghost attribute special Moo milk from deep in the upper layer of the shelf. 1, 2, 7. There are only 7 bottles of ghost attribute Moo milk on the shelf. Xia Chan was very bold and called the nearby clerk to pack all 7 bottles of ghost attribute Moo milk. The clerk's movements were very agile, and Xia Chan didn't wait long before she finished packing. Xia Chan then took out her phone, scanned the code to make the payment, and left with a dreamy demon on her head. 7 bottles of ghost attribute Moo milk, for a total consumption of 1,400 yuan, without any discount. 1,400 yuan is already Xia Chan's usual monthly living expenses. Cultivating elves really costs money. Originally, Xia Chan only heard that cultivating elves was very expensive, but this time he personally experienced how expensive it is to cultivate elves. At present, the dream demon is only at the beginner level. When its energy level is higher, it will require more money to purchase energy blocks and training props. His savings may not be used up and will be exhausted. Little dream demon, you must train hard in the future and not let me down. Thinking of this, Xia Chan warned the dream demon above her head. The dream demon lay comfortably on Xia Chan's head, responding to him with a lazy cry. Xia Chan didn't know if this little guy really remembered or was just perfunctory, but having a response was better than being ignored. The 7 bottles of ghost attribute Moo milk in her hand weighed a bit, and Xia Chan quickened her pace and returned home smoothly. Bang! After closing the door and entering the room, Xia Chan immediately placed the bag containing Moo milk on the ground. In just an instant, Xia Chan felt twice as relaxed. In the future, not only does Dream Demon need to exercise, but he also needs to exercise together. To become a top trainer, the first prerequisite is to have a good body. The Dream Demon is very clever. She knows that the Moo milk on the ground is the food that Xia Chan bought for her. As soon as Xia Chan placed the bag containing Moo milk on the ground, it floated from Fang Xian's head to the front of the bag, wanting to use her imagination to take out a bottle of moo milk. However, the moo milk is much heavier than the Pokémon ball and the remote control. The Dream Demon's full use of its psychic power only allows a bottle of moo milk to leave the bag halfway, and there is still some distance before it can drink the moo milk inside the bottle. After changing her slippers, Xia-chan bent down and took out a bottle of moo milk from her bag. She smiled and said, "Little Mengyao, I know you're in a hurry, but don't worry for now.